Hi, this is Gary with MACMOST.com. Let me show you how to crop, resize, and compress an image using Pixelmator Pro. So Pixelmator Pro is an app that you can get in the Mac App Store. It was recently acquired by Apple, so it's an official Apple app now. And you can use it as a Photoshop alternative to do all sorts of things with images. Right now, I'm going to show you how to crop, resize, and export in a compressed format. So the first thing you need to do is get your image into Pixelmator Pro. You can do this so many different ways. For instance, if it's a photo in the Photos app, you can select the photo like this one. You can go to Image and then Edit With, and then select Pixelmator Pro here. If Pixelmator Pro is the last one that you used, it should appear here at the top. And then there's just a keyboard shortcut, Command and Return. So you can use it to quickly open up this image in Pixelmator Pro. You could also go to the image, edit it, click here, and then use Pixelmator Pro here as an extension. But then you don't get all the exporting options. So I'm not going to use it here in this tutorial. Or you could start in Pixelmator Pro, go to File, and then New from Photos. And then you could select a photo from your Photos library, and you could edit it that way. Or you could have an image in the Finder, and you can Control-click it and select Open With, and then Pixelmator Pro, or drag it to the Pixelmator Pro app in your dock. Any of those methods will take you into Pixelmator Pro, like you see now, and you have the full range of features and functions. But by opening it from Photos, you now have the ability to use File and save the changes back to the Photos library. You don't have to, but the option is there. You could still revert to the original in Photos, but any changes you make will actually show up in your Photos library. But first, let's crop. Cropping is under Tools, and you could see Crop here. The easiest way to get to it is just using the C key. It's not even Command C, it's just C. And now you're in cropping mode. You can grab the corners or the middle of the sides and drag inward to crop. Once you've cropped a little bit, you can drag the cropped area around like this to select the area that you want and keep adjusting. If you need a specific size, you can go to the right sidebar here. And if it's set to custom size, you could set a specific width and height. So if I know I need something that's 3,000 pixels by 2,000 pixels, you can see how it adjusts that there. And now I can move this around and I'll get something exactly that size. But I could also click here and then choose from all these different aspect ratios. So if I want something square, for instance, I could select this, and now I've got something exactly square. If I want something that's 3 by 2, I can select this. And you can even set it to always remember your last choice. And if you're set to a specific ratio, when you drag the corners or sides, it stays with that ratio like that. You can also choose Auto Crop to let Pixelmator Pro figure out some good cropping, get rid of some things around the edges that may not add to the photo. You've got straightening to be able to rotate a little bit. Perspective options here, if your photo needs a little bit of perspective correction. And then when you get what you want, you click the Apply button here, and it applies the crop. By the way, if you like these videos, consider joining the more than 2,000 others that support MACMOST at Patreon. You get exclusive content, course discounts, and more. You can read about it at macmost.com/Patreon. Now, how about resizing the image? If you go to Image here, you've got Canvas size, which is another way to crop, but image size will actually shrink the image. So you can set a specific width and height, and you could do it in pixels or inches or any other measurement, and you can choose a resolution. In most cases, you're going to want pixels, like maybe you're uploading to a website and it says it should be 2,000 pixels wide. As long as you have scale proportionally turned on, adjusting the width or the height will adjust the other one automatically. And unless you're doing something very specific with printing, you just want to leave the resolution and resampling alone and use it like this. So I'll get something that's 2,000 by 1,300 pixels here. If I click OK, it resizes it. If you're trying to make the image file smaller, resizing is always a smart thing to do first before you worry about file compression. But you don't have to actually use the image size tool here to do that at all. As a matter of fact, I'm going to undo that here. So I'm back to the regular size because you can take care of it when you export without changing the original image. So now to export, I'm going to go to File and then Export. I could use Command E to get there as well. So the first thing I want to do is select the format. So to make this very compatible with all sorts of different systems and websites, I'm just going to switch to JPEG. When I switch to JPEG, I can now select the quality. So the quality is going to determine not just the quality of the photo, but also the size. So here, for instance, I can see this is 1.8 megs. It's 72% quality. If I bring the quality down a little bit, you can see I get it down to 1.3 megs. Basically, anything between 50 and 80% is good for most uses. At 90% and above, it's really hard to tell the difference just casually looking at a photo. But the other thing you may want to do is resize here. So you can resize using a custom size. So for instance, now I can go to 2000 like before, and I can see now it brings the file size down a lot. So 80% at 2000 wide brings it under 600K. I can also go with a percentage. So I could see what happens if it's 50% scaled. And in this case, it's close. It's a little over 1900 pixels wide. I go to say 40% and maybe take the quality down to say 65% and get it to 284. So if I have a goal for myself that I want this to be under 200K, like say I'm putting a bunch of images into a Pages document, and if the images are too big, the Pages document will be too big, and the resulting PDF may be too big. So maybe I set myself a goal of 200K for each of my images. So let's bring this down to 60% here and maybe 35% in scale, and I get just under that. And then I can name it something different here. I'll export here to the desktop. Here's the file. You can see it's the advertised size there. And if I use it in Quick Look, you can see it's still a pretty decent quality there. It'll be fine in my Pages document, especially since it's going to be even smaller than this in that document. And making those changes in Pixelmator Pro, since I started with the Photos app, the changes, in other words, the cropping that I did at the beginning, saved back to my Photos library. But remember, you can always go to Image and revert to Original and get the original back in the Photos app. Now I want to show you another quick way to do it using the web export in Pixelmator Pro. So select an image like this, then I could do Image and Edit With and Pixelmator Pro. I go into here, I'm not going to change anything. I'm going to go just immediately to Export for Web or Shift Command E. And this is a different interface here. It's meant for web developers, but you could use it for a quick export. So the first thing for cropping, you can just draw and it creates what's called a slice. And the idea is web developers can slice up this image into different portions. But you're just going to create one slice. You'll see it here. You'll see its exact size, so you can adjust to adjust that size. You can also go here and set it to 0.5 scaling. So now it's going to be half that size, so a little more than 1500 pixels here, for instance. And then you can set the export format, change the quality. I'll just do it at 50% like that, and then just go to Export. I'm going to name it something better and export this slice as a JPEG 50% and scaled 50%. So here's that file. If I get info on it, you can see it's pretty small there because it is only 1500 pixels across. And if I look at it, it still looks pretty decent. So to have more control, just use the regular crop and then the regular export function. But it's kind of an expert quick way to do it. You can use Export for Web as well. Hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, click the thumbs up button below to let me know. I publish new tutorials each weekday. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out.